let us continue from where we left off, basically telling you how the motion of the atoms in a 2 atom per unit cell case is at q vector equal to pi by a. So, like I showed you that there are 2 different kinds of motions, and these 2 motions have different frequencies, obviously, because in one case the 2 atoms are moving together in the unit cell, in the other they are moving against each other. So, because of that, if the masses are different, it will be, the frequencies will be different. We will try to figure out how actually we get different frequencies. So, for that, let me now consider this chain of atoms. The chain of atoms consists of a large atom, a small atom, a large atom, a small atom, large atom, small atom, large atom, like that. Okay. So, let me call the position of the large atoms as us and position of the small atoms as vs. So, this will be vs minus 1 and this will be us plus 1. Okay. So, now let us see what is the displacement for the small atom bond displacement. Is to the right side, the displacement is us plus 1 minus vs, and to the left side it is vs minus us. So, if you look at the force on that, which is m vs double dot, that is a differentiation with respect to time. So, d squared vs by dt squared, this is equal to there are 2 forces are in the opposite direction. So, I can write it as minus and plus here. So, k is the force constant, us plus 1 minus vs minus k times us minus 1 minus vs. Now, let us see what is the, so this we can simplify it as m vs double dot is equal to k times us plus 1 plus us minus 2 vs. Now, let us see what is the displacement for the big atom, which is at us. So, the displacement at big atom will be vs minus us for the right side bond, and for the left side bond it is us minus vs minus 1, and the other one is vs minus us. So, these are the 2 displacements that I have. And so, the force m us double dot is equal to k minus of k of this, and what we will get for the force is m us double dot is equal to k times us plus it is k times vs plus vs minus, just a second, if I were to write it the other way around. So, I can write this one as just to be consistent, I will write this as equal to minus and plus. So, then I have vs plus vs minus 1 minus 2 us. So, that will be the force equation for the other one, that is for m us double dot. So, as before, we can try the following solution. Try the solution. us equal to uq e to the I q s a e to the minus I omega q t, and vs is equal to vq e to the I q s a e to the minus I omega q t. So, if I plug these things in, then what I will get are the equations: minus omega q squared m u q is equal to k v q into 1 plus e to the minus I q a minus 2 k uq, and then the other one will be minus omega q squared m vq is equal to k times uq times 1 plus e to the iqa minus 2k vq. Okay, so this is, I have cancelled out e to the iqsa, e to the minus I omega qt on both sides, and that is how I get this equation after substitution. So now I can actually write it in the following way, that is, I can write it as omega 2k minus omega q squared m times uq minus k times 1 plus e to the minus iqa times vq is equal to 0. That is one equation, and the other equation is minus k times 1 plus e to the iqa uq plus 2k minus m omega q squared vq. So this is a set of simultaneous equations with which are homogeneous. Solution exists when the determinant of the matrix is 0, so that actually means that 2k minus omega q squared m times that is the one, and then the other one will be minus k 1 plus e to the minus iqa, and the second equation is a, and the second equation is minus of k times 1 plus e to the iqa and 2k minus m omega q squared, this is equal to 0. So if I were to expand this, what I will get is the following. So I get the following equation, which is m omega q to the power 4 minus 2k m plus m omega q squared plus 2k squared into 1 minus cos qa is equal to 0. This is fairly straightforward algebra to get it, so I am not going to do the whole details, but I will just leave it at that. We can, this is a quadratic equation in omega q squared. But what we will do is we will not write down the general solution like minus b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac by 2a, but on the other hand we will try to work out what the solutions are when, in the two cases. One is we want the solution near 0 when qa is far less than 1, and when qa is equal to plus minus pi. So that is at the zone center and at the zone boundaries. So this is the zone center and this is the zone boundary. To obtain that, we have to write down the general solution anyway, and what we will get is the following. Omega q squared plus minus is equal to 2k times m plus m plus minus square root of 4k squared into m plus m the whole squared minus 4 m capital M 2 times k squared into 1 minus cos qa divided by twice mm. Now when we want to get the omega q squared plus solution, then there will be a plus sign, so it will be 2k m plus m and plus minus square root of 4k squared m plus m the whole squared minus 4k squared mm into 2 1 minus cos qa divided by twice mm. And what we will do is qa is small, so we approximate cos qa as equal to 1, and this is possible because I am taking the positive solution. When I am taking the positive solution, if I leave out something that is small on this side, it does not matter. But if it is a negative solution, because I am trying to take differences between two numbers, I cannot have approximation of that kind. So for this one it is okay. So if I were to do this, then I will get omega squared q plus will be 2k m plus m plus 2k m plus m, because that is the square root of 4 square is k squared m plus m squared is that much, divided by 2 mm. That will give me 2k into 1 upon m plus 1 upon capital M. So that will be the frequency that I will get for the positive square root, and if I want to get the negative one for omega q squared negative, what I have to do is I will approximate cos qa as equal to 1 minus 1 half q squared a squared, because that is a series expansion for cos qa and stopping at q squared. So if I do this, then what I will get will be the following: omega q squared minus is equal to 2k m plus m minus 2k into square, I have taken out the common factor for 4k squared times m plus m the whole squared plus m q squared a squared by 2 whole thing divided by twice mm. Now you can always expand what is under the square root, that is here, as root of 1 plus x as equal to 1 plus half x for small x. So if you do that, then what I will get for omega q squared minus is k by 2 divided by m plus m times q squared a squared. So this is interesting. The omega squared q tending to 0 of minus goes as q squared, or omega goes as q tends to 0. So this is actually an acoustic mode, because it is an acoustic mode where as q tends to 0, the frequency tends to 0, and when q is equal to 0, what you get is just simple translation. So this is the acoustic mode, and so we can say that at about here you have one mode that goes there. So this is q, and another mode which will have an energy 2k into 1 upon m plus 1 upon capital M plus 1 upon small m. So that will be somewhere here. So this will be the second mode. Okay, this is one mode. Okay, and let us also do the solution at omega q equal to qa equal to plus minus pi. So when we do this solution, this is quite easy to write down. I get omega q plus squared for q equal to plus minus pi by a, as one solution is 2k upon m, small m, and the other solution is omega q squared minus is equal to 2k upon capital M. So I have at q equal to plus minus pi by a, what I am seeing is that this frequency will come somewhere here, which is 2k upon small m, and the other frequency will go to 2k upon capital M. So there is a gap in energy in the spectrum at pi by a. So actually let me make this 2a so that I will get slightly different notation. So let me call this distance 2a. Then what one is looking at is things that are moving at pi by 2a. So this will be pi, q equal to pi by 2a, and let me, this will be 2a and this will be 2a also, because I want to do that simply you will come to know why I am doing it. So this will be square root of 2k by m and 2k by capital M. So if I look at the dispersion, phonon dispersion curves or the vibrational dispersion curves, then what I have is I have pi by 2a here, and I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus pi by 2a here. So one of them will have a dispersion which goes like that, and the other one has a dispersion that goes like this. Okay. So this is omega equal to square root of 2k upon mu, mu is equal to 1 upon m plus 1 upon capital M, and this is omega equal to square root of 2k upon small m, and here it is 0 going as linear, and this one is omega is equal to root 2k upon capital M. So I have now two branches, and one branch where at the 0 point there is the center of the Brillouin zone, you have rather high frequency, and in the other case it is low frequency. The upper branch is called the optical branch, and the lower branch is called the acoustic branch. So what you see is that acoustic branch you can understand because the atoms in the unit cell are moving the same direction. So that is why you call them the acoustic branch. In the upper branch, the atoms are moving in opposite direction. So supposing instead of atoms, if we had an ionic crystal, since atoms are moving in the ions will be moving in the opposite direction. How do we know? We can always substitute for energy in this equation. You can substitute for energy in this equation, and then you find out the ratio of uq to vq, and what you will see is that the ratio of uq to vq will be minus of small m by capital M, and so they are moving in the opposite direction. So because of that there is a fluctuating dipole. And this couples strongly to electromagnetic radiation. And hence you call it the optical mode. So the name optical mode. Okay, so far so good. So let us see some more things about this optical and acoustic modes. Okay, so one thing that we understand is that we have looked at two unit cells, two different kinds of motions in the unit cells, which is given here, and you see that supposing I were to consider this as if this is the unit cell, okay, then the motion that I am getting is like this, but here the two will become identical when I have this as a unit cell. Okay. So this and this will become identical when the unit cell definition is changed, but only thing is that you have to consistently change the definition. So what is described here as a acoustic mode, because in this new unit cell the two atoms are moving together, in the other one it will become the optic mode. So in a way, depending on the unit cell, the motion of the atoms will be either optic or acoustic. So you have the choice of defining the unit cell. Now you see this is very much like in the hydrogen molecule case that we talked about, where we had for the k equal to pi by 2a in the electronic structure case of hydrogen chain. So what we had was the following, right? So you had plus plus, minus minus, plus plus, minus minus, plus plus, minus minus, and so forth, and was one state, and the other state was plus minus, minus plus, plus minus, minus plus, plus minus, and so on and so forth. So what was happening was that depending upon the way you define your unit cell, okay, you can think of bonding between successive atoms and anti-bonding between neighboring atoms if this is the unit cell you choose. But if you choose a different unit cell, okay, so something like this one, then you see it is anti-bonding here and it is bonding here. Okay. So supposing you make a distortion of the chain, then we showed that the bonding and the anti-bonding will you cannot interchange because they become unique, and you will see that because the interaction between plus minus here will be different from the interaction between plus minus in this case. Okay, so because of that you cannot interchange, that we discussed in detail while discussing the energy band theory. So similarly here what is happening is that, and this opened up a gap, so there was a Peierls instability that we were talking about. So what happened in that case was that what was pi by a and minus pi by a kind of band structure opened up a gap to give you something in the middle which was minus pi by 2a and plus pi by 2a, and you had a gap, upper band going like that and the lower band going like that, and there was a band gap. Here also if you look at this dispersion curve that we have drawn, okay, the lower band is going like this is acoustic band, and the optic band is going like that, and this is pi by 2a, and this is minus pi by 2a, and you got this one by changing the masses from this band. So let me so you had something that was going like this all the way. So this was pi by a minus pi by a, and you opened up a gap by making the atoms different. The gap opened up here and here and here and here. So this was pi by 2a minus pi by 2a, and then you folded the Brillouin zone, because you can always just fold it back like that, and in which case what you will get is this one. So that is how you get the two branches, the acoustic and the optic, very similar to the Peierls instability that we had in the case of the electronic structure calculations. Now having said that, now what I want to say is that there were models to explain specific heat behavior of insulators and metals. So first of all you had experimentally what was known was the temperature dependence was like this. So if you took Cv and plotted against T, then at low temperatures it showed a T cube behavior, and at high temperatures it almost saturated at 3R for monoatomic metals, 3R for monoatomic metals. So it actually came from the simple equipartition theorem at high temperatures. So equipartition said that every time you have a quadratic term in your Hamiltonian, it contributes an energy kBT by 2, and so what we had was the energy for the gas molecules was actually given by, for vibrating system was given by the kinetic energy terms px squared plus py squared plus pz squared by 2m plus 1/2 k times x squared plus y squared plus z squared, which was actually the displacements, and that gave rise to 1/2 kT was the energy into 3 here, 1/2 kBT into 3, because there are 3 degrees of freedom, one day px, py, pz are 3 degrees, x, y, z are 3 degrees. So the energy at higher temperatures was actually 3 kBT, or Cv was equal to n times 3 kB or equal to 3R, and R has the number 2 calories per degree. So that will give you Cv as 3 calories per degree. Okay, so this was the equipartition that we had. So to explain this, Einstein used the assumption that all modes have the same frequency. So this actually corresponds to optic modes. So because if m is equal to 10, m is equal to 1 and capital M is equal to 10, then what you would see is that mu is something like 10 by 11. Okay. So and that is at the bottom of the energy frequency of the optic mode, because you see here so this one was rather top of the energy of the optic mode, root of 2k upon mu. So and here it will be at the other end, it will be mu is equal to 10 by 11, so it comes in denominator, right. Okay, at the zone edge m is equal to 10, so the frequencies actually go as 2k by mu, and at the zone center, and 2k by m at zone edge, and you see that the dispersion is only about 10%. Dispersion of the optic band is only about 10%. So assuming constant frequency was okay for optical branch. But this one only gave you an exponential dependence of specific heat on temperature. So, Einstein's model was not successful in explaining the T cube behavior. But Debye came up with other model where he assumed that omega goes as Cs times q. Cs is the velocity of sound. So, basically he assumed that omega versus Cs goes as q goes as this, and he had a cutoff in q such that number of modes was n or 3n, okay. 3n modes was the number of modes, because if you have n atoms you have 3n degrees of freedom. So, you can't continue q to infinity, and so you will have to just cut it off, and you can do this cutoff using the density of states picture that we have and using a box of size L. So, this is something that we did earlier in electronic structure context. So, you have to stop at QD. So, there is a cutoff at QD. And this corresponds to this in frequency omega d. Okay. So, we can define at Debye temperature theta d, which is actually given by h cross omega d by kb, and Debye temperature basically is important and tells you how stiff a lattice is. It is an important measure of the stiffness of the lattice. Of course, there were different kinds of procedures that were evolved for cutoffs to improve the fit, and you had the Born cutoff, which assumed that the longitudinal velocity of the sound. So, the slope is CL and this is the transverse. Okay, then you cut off the transverse and the longitudinal, so that Q longitudinal Born cutoff was such that then you had n number of modes, and Q cutoff for transverse modes in the Born procedure was for 2n modes, and it gave somewhat slightly better results, but it was not material really. So, but anyway, these were the two procedures, and I just wanted to give you this information because I just wanted to define Debye temperature, which is very important, which appears in various contexts. Okay. So, what I will do is I will stop at this point in this lecture, and in the next lecture I will continue with quantization of the phonons, and also how we can deal with many atoms in a unit cell, and we will also deal a little bit about the anharmonic effects in the lattice. Thank you very much.